Out on the town, just doing my thing. Grab your purses in your clutches, ain't worried about a thing. When you see your girl coming, tell your homie girl, hey. We ain't worried about nothing. Move your body, boy, sway. Body looking like fine wine, tryna have a good time. We out here tryna go off, show off, blowing off some steam. After working a 9-to-5 dream. Sometimes you gotta let loose, move your body smooth, shea butter, fruit juice. You gotta get down sometimes. I'm here for move yourself grind. You see your haters in the back, leave them on the wall wave. Nobody gonna ruin our play.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dupardology. I'm Reggie Dupard.
And I'm LaChanda Dupard, and we're the co-founders of Fit and Faithful Living, a nonprofit organization in Dallas building strong leaders through love, hope, and inspiration.
Before we get started, we want to give a shout out to our producers, Jonathan and NIKKI.
Woo-hoo. And Rachel is the theme song vocalist on The Town. You can download that on all music platforms, all right?
And listen
Support
to that
the young
jam.
artists.
Support
Young artists. So today, are you ready to get started with this? Okay, all right.
I think I'm ready.
We have a little sensitive subject we're going to bring
Yes,
to y'all
we do.
today, and it involves a situation that Reggie was in. So I'm living in Chicago at the time. We're good friends, and I get a phone call saying, "Shonda, this is happening to me. What do you think I need to do? How I need to handle this?" And I'm like, "Oh gosh, okay." So Reggie, run it back to what that was all about.
Well, LaChanda and I always have been friends. Even though she moved to Chicago, she was somebody to talk to. So I told her, I said, look, I got myself in this situation. And just to lay it out to you, my freshman year, I had a teammate, and he had a cousin he wanted me to introduce. Mm-hmm. He wanted to introduce him to his cousin, a young lady. Yeah. And so she would come to the dorm, and initially I was like, man, I'm good, And then, I'd met her, but I didn't really... wasn't that serious, about meeting her. Then one day I let her come up to the dorm room. And, when you have a dorm room, it's just 2 beds in the room.
That's right.
And a closet. And so not a good situation for young people 18 years old with hormones, especially me at that age.
Exactly. Y'all are in the flesh. Yes. Or as in Texans says, you're in the flesh.
In the flesh.
The flesh. Okay, the flesh, yes.
Okay, so we met, and finally, so some things happened.
Things happen.
Yeah, we did.
And let's give the girl her props now.
Okay.
This chick, because I did see her eventually, she was really she had a banging body.
Yeah,
she had a nice
she was
body.
All right. She wasn't, she was okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
She wasn't LaChanda Dupard.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying. She
LaChanda
had a nice body.
No.
Right. She had a nice body, and that attracted to you. I mean, that you were attracted to that because for men, the appeal or...
Yeah, I was, but I found out.
So really, give her credit.
But I really wasn't wild about it. So I did, and like I said, some things happened, and so we go on. Like I had a good freshman year because I played behind the great Eric Dickerson and Craig James.
So why she wanted to meet you was because
because people knew about SMU football. Okay. They knew they thought we had money. We drove nice cars, and back then everybody drove Z's and all those kind of things. Right. And, and at the time, I wasn't a bad-looking guy.
You still not? What you talking about?
I had some muscles.
You still got some muscles.
Yeah,
that's right.
And so we met, and so we connected, and so we finished the year. We finished number 2 in the nation behind Alabama. We beat Pitt, and so we beat Pitt in Cotton Bowl. We Dan Marino. So it goes on my.
So you believe this young lady wanted to meet you because of that position?
Well, who we were, everybody in Dallas knew we were the next best thing to the Cowboys.
And you agreed to do this? Okay.
And I agreed. So there's no question. I take full responsibility for my actions.
There we go.
And so the following year, I had a dorm room because I moved off campus, had a dorm room, had a roommate. And so one day I'm in my apartment and I hear a knock on the door, bam, bam. So I go and I open the door and there's a young lady, actually a mutual friend of the girl that my friend. So you know this girl? Yeah, my friend's cousin, yeah. And so I know her, she has a baby in her hand. So she gives me the baby and said, "This is your child." I said, "Hold on." I don't want this. What? He said, "Oh, this is your child." I was like, well, let me back up before then. Before then, I'd heard rumors that she was pregnant.
Okay, you heard rumors she was pregnant.
But yeah, I heard rumors she was pregnant.
So when you heard the rumor that she was pregnant,
well, she didn't tell me anything. It was my sophomore year. I hadn't seen her in a while, right?
Oh, okay.
And so I didn't know. And so I said, okay, nobody
She's
told me
pregnant, so,
anything.
yeah.
And so when brought she said it was
At
mine.
that point, you never thought it was your child when you heard she was
Right,
pregnant.
because the girl never told me anything.
Okay.
So I said, and I looked at the baby. I said, well, okay, well, this don't look like me. And I said, I gave it back to her. So that went on. So finally, I don't know if she called me or I called her. And I said, well, I asked, and I don't want to say her name, but I said,
I don't understand that though, because I know we've kind of talked about this, but addressing the elephant in the room, why do you think she didn't bring the baby over to see you and she sent her child with a friend to?
Well, there's a word I use. It was sort of some immaturity, messy type stuff, girl stuff.
Okay. Messy girl
almost
stuff.
like hood stuff. I don't know. It was way.
What do y'all think about that particular situation?
I was crazy.
I'd like to know why y'all think that happened. If you don't want to deal with it, that's fine.
And,
go ahead.
And like I said, never told me. She never called me. When I spoke to her, we talked, and she said it was, and I said okay. So I really sort of didn't know how to deal with the situation. So that's one of the reasons why I called you. So when she said it was
your child, oh, okay, gotcha.
So that's one the reason why I called you, because I just needed somebody to talk to, and so. I didn't do anything, and the other thing that happened to me, we would practice, and so rumors had got around that it was mine, right?
Okay.
And so we would be in practice, and I'd be stretching, and at the time of the song of Michael Jackson, Billie Jean, not my lover, the kid is not my son, or whatever, right? And so,
such timing,
it was so weird, and it was a kid, and everybody would be singing that song, all my teammates.
So you would go out to practice, and they would instantly start singing.
All the guys that I played with.
Y'all know who y'all are too up on my husband like that.
I should call out their names.
Don't call them out. No names.
It was very stressful for me at that time.
Okay.
And so so that particular thing happened. So finally, at some point, she made the decision to go and just show up at my parents' house, make an appointment, and then just drop the baby off at my parents and show my mom, say, this is your child, this is your granddaughter.
And your mom then said what?
Well, and my mom, they the kind of people, I'm not sure why, but they immediately, they were like, okay with it. They was like, I guess they assumed she looked like me as well. Yeah. And so they really, really took to the baby and the little girl, shall I say, and she started spending time at my house and with my parents. And
spending summers and things of that nature. So at this point, you're still not sure how to deal with this, how to be a father. You're still in college, and your parents are basically taking care of the summertime with the baby, but you're not seeing the child while you're here in Dallas?
I'm not seeing it as much. Because as I go back and as I thought about it, everything I was trying to do the math and everything.
Yeah, right.
And I remember
and y'all are terrible at math.
I remember, and I remember like the last time I had seen her, it was kind of weird. Like I saw something boom, boom, and then she left, and I was like, man, it's odd, right? Just the way things went down. But
this was before the baby.
Yes.
Okay, before she got pregnant. Boom, boom. Okay.
And so it was kind of just it was some weird things happen in the way.
But you couldn't put it together.
I could not put it all together. But when I look back, something wasn't right.
Right.
Yeah. And
that
so
makes sense.
Right. So I forward. I go on. We see the child.
You're paying child support.
Well, I didn't pay child support. Shall I say? Initially, I went. I didn't pay anything. So I go to the draft. I get drafted. So
you didn't pay anything until you got drafted?
I did not pay anything till I got drafted.
And she never tried to put you on child support?
No, she never did. Like I said, my parents was helping.
They were helping. Okay. So now, building up. You got this situation going on, and then you've got the buildup of the draft. You know you believe in your heart and soul that you worked hard and you put in the work to be able to get drafted.
Exactly.
Okay.
And one of the things that I'm thinking, I knew I was going to be a high draft pick.
Okay.
And as a football player, you always hear stories about, girls wanting guys for money and all these different things. And I really didn't want to think about that because I knew had I had to pay according to my salary as an NFL football player, it was going to be a lot of money. So I go, and the draft was the most exciting thing in my life.
Absolutely.
My parents were excited.
It's the build-up. That's why you play ball.
It was a great opportunity.
It's what everybody aspires.
My dream to do things for my family, and then at the same time, I'm looking back. I got this in the situation, in the back of my head, I'm dealing with this, like, this. I'm gonna have to pay this girl all of this money, right? So I start off my rookie year. So
you get drafted?
I get drafted.
Now wait, because that's a build up. Now you waiting for the draft.
Yeah.
What round did you get drafted?
Oh,
Come on with it.
Well, I was the first.
You worked hard for this.
Yes, I worked hard for it. I was the first round draft pick of the New England Patriots.
First round draft
Very
pick. Very
exciting day for me and my family.
That was a lot of work. You earned it. You
Yes.
put in the work. You got there. All right.
Yeah, so I am drafted. I'm playing for the New England Patriots, and so I talked to my attorneys about. Well, first I started getting letters.
Oh, okay. So after you got drafted,
yes,
you started getting
I got letters from the court. I started getting letters from the court. Well, I'll go back before then. So I talked to my attorneys about that I had a child. And so they said, well, okay, let's just start paying X amount of dollars per month.
Oh, okay.
An option.
Out of the kindness of your heart, and you're thinking this is your
nobody
child.
Nobody saying anything about child support. So
that's very honorable.
Well, it's a child. You got to take care of that. And so,
because at this point you believed it was.
My agent, my attorney knew. Right. They knew we were talking to them about it. And then all of a sudden, probably that same year, my rookie year, I start getting letters in the mail.
Okay.
And it went on for a while. It give you some time, and it was saying paternity, like go to court, contest it. I guess you go and you. I'm not sure what it's called.
Yeah.
Just go to court to see if that's your baby or something, whatever.
So guys and ladies, let me just say this to you guys: if you get a letter in the mail. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing about that is some guys, I know some men who have gotten those letters and just felt like it was going to go away. They were living in a different state. They couldn't make it, or they just put it off and said, I'm not going to be able to do this. I don't care. This is going to go away. Never, ever overlook that. Always address it, because if you don't show up for that during the court date, you automatically just relinquish over your right and say, I am the father.
And one of the things that I was dealing with, my parents were saying they were okay with it, thought the child was mine, and so
you were gonna let it go.
I really don't know how it all went down, but God, something told me. Talk to my attorneys about it. Now I was on my third letter, and the third letter it was like, if you don't do this, then I think it said that I will be named the father.
Oh
right?
Boy, that's it right there.
And so I was like,
so the courts tell you.
Finally, and I guess not taking care of responsibility. First of all, I should have told my attorneys off the top. And so finally, I went to my attorneys and told them, and said, well, look, let's do this, Reggie. Let's contest it.
Okay.
Let's contest it. Let's go to court. Let's do the blood work.
And if it is your child?
Yes. Well, take care of your responsibility.
You take care of your responsibility. Yes. But if it's not, then, we got a whole nother situation. So
exactly.
You go through the...
we contested it. I went did my blood work, came to Dallas. And so when you meet in Dallas, they have all the contestants, the child, the mother, and myself. So we go to the same place to do the blood work. So I'm in this building wherever we were located. And so I see the little girl, and so I go try to say hello to the little girl.
Because you have a relationship with her, right?
Yeah, we talk. She knows me. I spent a little time with her. And so I go to say hello to the little girl, and the mother is hot. Oh, she's on fire.
She's hot because you were there. You showed
up.
Well,
no, not because we just showed up. Because we said we wanted to see if the baby, what was the deal. Okay. So she goes, and I went to say hello to the little girl, and she said, "Please say this is not your baby. You don't need to speak to her." I was like, "Oh, look at this girl. She a trip." Okay, but I had already seen some things from her.
There were signs.
There were signs. Yeah, like the show said. There were signs. And so, so I said, okay, no problem. So we do the blood work, and so I go back to New England. So I'm in my apartment.
How long later?
It's probably 2 months later.
2 months later, okay.
I'm in my apartment. I'm in my roommate. I get this letter.
Hold up now. So 2 months later.
2 months later, and so I get this letter. You can tell it's something important. Okay. And it says on there, the place.
Oh, okay. So when you get that, is your heart pumping?
I'm like, so I open the letter. And it says,
who are you with at your place?
I'm with my roommates.
I like the details.
Yeah, I'm in the room with my roommates, and they already knew what I'm going. They already knew what I was going through, right? Yeah. And we open the letter, so that when I opened it up, it said 0.0 probability child was mine. And I was like, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I was excited. We jumped up, and so I'm all excited. Me and my boy giving dap. Dupard, you ain't got to pay all that bread. and I'm happy. And then all of a sudden I think about it. So I take a moment take a deep breath. Then I said, well, let me call her.
Oh, okay, and see if she got the results.
Yeah, and just to let you know, like before, we would do. I not decided to give her some money. It wasn't a lot as much as I would have had to give.
You were still paying her a lot of money, though.
I remember when I would talk to her, there would be times, she would be traveling places, and when she would bring the child to me, and the child wouldn't have the right size clothes, I had to buy clothes. So I'd ask her, why you didn't bring any clothes? And she would just like go off on me, right? We didn't get along, It was
and you're paying child.
I felt like,
not only
I was paying child, but it wasn't.
But you were also paying tuition for school.
I did all of that.
Tuition for school, and enough money to cover clothes for the child. Let me just tell you, I'm witnessing that.
When I called her, she was so meek and humble.
Oh.
And I said, well, look, sweetheart. I said, we got this blood work here. I'm saying, this baby is not mine. And she said, well, that ain't right. She goes, just lying. Right?
Lying.
I know she's lying.
Yeah.
That's something that's not right about that. Oh, okay. And I found out later on the real interesting thing about it. Well, she knew.
Of course.
She knew.
All women know.
Not only did she know.
All women know.
Her mama knew.
Oh.
Yes. Her mom knew. They all was in on it.
Oh, okay.
Just game. They ran game on me. They ran game on my family. My mom knew her. Would talk to her parents.
Yeah.
And I don't think her stepdad knew, but her mom knew.
Yeah, they know, and she definitely knew. So
right. And it was a game from the very beginning.
Sometimes it'll flip on you real bad, and when it flips on you, there's just no return from it. So it wasn't good for anybody, all the way around. The child suffered the most because now you're at a point where you're like, do I still play dad to her, or do you just, because she's like 6 years old at this point, and you've been in her life now for 6 years. The family's attached to everybody. She's going to Louisiana every summer. So after 6 years, then what does that do to you in terms of the relationship of this child?
Well, first of all, it wasn't the little girl's fault, and so I'm the kind of person. My parents are the same way. We would not want the little girl to suffer because we built a relationship. Mine wasn't as close as theirs was with her because I really didn't want a child, and I felt like, hey, somebody tried to trap me.
And let me just say this part too, because by this time I was kind of really involved in talking to you about it, and I got to actually see your true friends. Because your true friends were happy for you that this lie had been just stamped out. Right. It's just gone. And the friends who we thought were your friends were like, no, that's your child. That girl looked just like you.
That was so weird.
That girl looked it's like they wanted you to have to suffer. And she was pretty pompous. I actually met her. She was a little pompous, baby. When she walked in the room, honey, she was letting everybody know, yes, I have Reggie Dupard's child. Right. And it was during that time that I saw. But the biggest lie that I did not like is that when she was starting to tell everybody, you paid off the attorneys, you paid off the state. First of all,
that was a lie.
Big lie, because nobody has enough money to go up against the state of Texas. Right. This is the state doing a paternity. You cannot pay off the state.
I didn't have enough money to do something. No,
you didn't have enough money to do that. Besides, the state want to identify these parents. They want to find the father. They want to make the fathers accountable. So for me, I was like, okay, now we're going from one lie to another where you done paid it off. And this is all over Dallas. Everywhere at this point, I've moved back to Dallas. And we're hanging out and we're having to deal with the backlash from it. And everywhere you go, it's the big elephant in the room. That's your child. Yeah. But you never really told a whole bunch of people about it. You just went on.
I didn't. The only thing I did was, of course, I stopped those payments.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing I did, I did not, I was paying for the little girl to go to private school.
But you continued that.
I continued her private school payments. I actually still had her out. She was in my life, right?
Right.
And which wasn't a problem for me, but and I was trying to do the right thing.
Right, you were doing the right thing because
because
fast forward, it was a child. It's a life. Okay, so
it wasn't her fault.
The child gets involved in this.
My parents were still seeing her.
They were still seeing her. This time we're going to fast forward to being engaged. We had now connected, and years later decided we were going to try this relationship thing.
We did.
And now this child is involved in it, and I've never really wanted to be a bonus mother or any of that, but I did know.
That's kind of like ugly.
Well, I didn't want to.
No
I didn't. Well, I'm being honest,
stuff
y'all.
happened. Because weren't you a bonus child?
Can I finish? You did not even let me finish. See,
okay. Go ahead. Do
can
what
I finish?
you do.
So my next statement was, I didn't want that, but I was willing to accept it because, thank you, I was a stepchild.
Okay.
I had a biological father. I'm a product of divorce. My mom remarried to a wonderful man, Bobby Duncan, and he took care of me, met him. He took care of me since I was like 2.5, 3 years old. And that's how I got to live in Baton Rouge with my mom and family. But he was a great man. So I got to see what a step-parent looked like. And I also got to see what a bad step-parent looked like because, my father remarried, and that was not a great experience. And I'll tell anybody that, that just was not a great experience. However, we'll talk about that at another time. But this piece was like, okay, now we have this child in our lives. I didn't want kids. Right. So when we decided to get married, and we're fast forwarding several years here, I said to Reggie, let's just have this child be part of the wedding.
You did.
I didn't have to do that now.
Right.
But I wanted her to feel like she was still part of the family. She was caught up in this lie. We wanted to embrace her.
And you okay with me praying for the private school?
Yeah, we paid. You paid.
Did not
paid for the continue paying while we were married. Yeah. Did not stop any of that. When she came over, her mom was still sending her with clothes that didn't fit or was just not right. We had to go shopping every week.
We had a room in her.
We built our house with a room for her, knowing she is 0% the child of Reggie. So. That was a God thing. That was completely a God thing. And we don't need kudos. We're not trying to get kudos for it. We're just saying when a human is involved, those are the things that you do.
But it was kind of eerie because for whatever reason, the girl, once her scam was over, and I just sort of like still tried to treat her with kindness, she was trying to sort of, I think, push back away or just make some things difficult.
Yeah, she did.
I remember just the way she was always kind of ugly. And I would, instead of me go and pick up, I would send you to go get the little girl or whatever we need to do. I would let you call her because I don't want to get caught up in those situations again.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
and so the little girl, you would go get her. She'd come to our house.
It was just
meet her, you get her,
being
and
fearful of the lies, right?
Exactly.
So I would go drive all the way to her house, pick up the little girl when it was time for her to come for the weekend, and I was very cordial. Short conversation.
Right.
You don't, and let me say this, ladies, if you're ever in a situation like this, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be friends. You don't have to bow down to anyone. It doesn't hurt to be cordial. So that is what I was. That's why I drew the line. I kept limitations there. I didn't want to hear about her and Reggie stuff. I didn't want her to talk about him, and he didn't really talk about her. I just know how he felt. Yeah. So
and I think the thing that you were really, really good because you was a stepdaughter, shall I say?
Exactly.
And you may have seen some, I don't know, favoritism through a family situation. You didn't want any of that to affect the little girl.
No, I did not.
And you were happy. You were good with it until the little girl, she used to come to my house, and then one day, I remember her telling you tried to tell her to do something.
I tried to tell her to clean up her room.
And what did she tell you?
You don't talk to me like that. You are not you don't tell me what to do. You are not my mama.
Okay.
All right, that's it right there. No child. Okay.
Go ahead.
See, that was a trigger right there, Reggie. Why you put that trigger out there like that, man? See, this is the
know.
kind of thing. Now, little child, now I'm going to love you until you get out of place. When if you're a little child, you start acting like a grown woman, then that's when you're going to get treated like a grown woman, okay?
And then I'm going to let you tell that. But just let me say, so that started happening, and then I remember we discussed some things because that led to something. So you and I were discussing how the situation wasn't.
Well, we had to talk to her and say, listen, you don't talk like this. I'm not your mother.
So I ended up meeting with you. You're going to tell your story.
Okay.
Let me tell them this.
Okay. So you started this trigger.
So I met with the mother, and I was trying to tell her, look, this ain't going to work out. And she trying to convince me, like I'm Willie Foo-Foo, to change because she saw my kindness. And for me to say that, give the girl my name, Dupard.
Right. So
I said, are you crazy? No. You must be out your mind. And I was like, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, and so the threat came. If you don't change her last name to Dupard, y'all will never get to see her again.
Right, and that was not gonna happen because you do that, then you really in trouble.
Now really, y'all, We're being fair here. We're
Right,
trying to
right.
do the
But
best
you're not
we
gonna
can.
take advantage
We're
of
trying to
us.
show Jesus.
Yes, ma'am.
We're trying
Yes.
to love the neighbor as thyself. We just trying to do the
Yes.
right thing. And then see, people gonna always, when you try to do the right thing, they're gonna always just try to just nail you. Not always, but there are some that will. And then everybody has a limit.
Right.
And that was our limit, I think. You know,
Right, it was.
she's being sassy talking. We trying to talk to her and say, this is not how you talk to anybody. And it wasn't the child's fault. Basically, she's repeating what mom is saying. You don't have to listen to her. She ain't your mama. But if I'm treating you with respect, oh, you definitely are going to treat me with respect, okay? So that happened. Then she got sent the threat about changing the last name, and you said,
No, not gonna happen.
okay, that's it then, it's over. So at that point, sometimes the children have to suffer for the sins of the mother, okay? And we were done. We were done. So the other aspect of that is going through all of that was such drama. It was draining, unnecessary. And this is the first, 2 to 3 years of our marriage.
Right. And what it really caused, because a lot of people, because of my input in her life, a lot of people, no one knew that it wasn't my child.
You wasn't saying in the community,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just taking care of her, but she's really not mine.
Yeah,
We
because
just,
you don't. I know the truth.
right, you know
So
the
it
truth,
wasn't,
so you don't
it
have to
wasn't
do
necessary. But for those of you that out there that know the situation, it's not my child.
that. We're going to say the elephant in the room right now. All right, but before we close out this session, we do want to share a bit of a happy ending.
Right.
There was a happy ending. I want you guys to know that. So even though there was deception and lies and hurt and pain and just a mess and a child's life is involved, the good news is she started to grow older, Reggie, and what happened?
Well, as she grew older, of course, with deception and things like that, there's some uneasiness, some unhappiness, and the young lady, she was searching for answers. She wanted to know who's her father, wanted to know what
why
I could
you
do.
were denying
yeah,
her,
why?
right.
Why I did? Of course, I had to tell her, hey, look, this is what happened. I broke it down to her.
And you showed her the test results.
I showed her the test results, and she pretty much had an idea of what happened. And so through the trials and tribulations, she finally went to her mother and asked her mother, and her mother did share with her who her biological father was.
That's right.
And I found out later. I was very happy about it.
Right.
And she did get to meet him. She posted him on social media.
And she connected with him.
She
did resemble each other too. So the good news is also when you hold people accountable, when you stick to what you know is the truth, the truth will come out. Most of the time, the truth will come out. But it's when people continue to go along with it just because is when the hurt and the pain continues, right? But she found out who her real
and at the
father
end
was,
of the
so we're
day,
excited for her.
At the end of the day, that's what is needed is the truth above everything.
That's right. All right, guys. So until next time, hope y'all enjoyed it. Drop us some comments and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
And we look forward to talking to you guys.
Check us out.
Check you out. Bye.
Have a great day.